Is it time for recess yet? I'm so glad you found time to join us here on the Child Care Director's Chair, where Erica Sacoccio shares her best practices that she's refined through her passion of directing childcare centers over the last 23 years. From parenting interaction, systems to save you time, money, and stress, to profitability. She shares it all from the Child Care Director's Chair.
Hey guys, it's Erica with the Child Care Director's Chair podcast. I'm so excited that you are here with me today. But again, I'm always excited. So, Saturday was International Women's Day. So, yay to my girl bosses out there. And of course, we still love our male educators as well. But today is the one day we're going to celebrate the ladies in the house. So, I'm really excited to have this guest on because we met in Florida. I don't want to jump ahead, but we met in Florida. We connected immediately. But she just is wonderful and a light. And so you'll be able to see that as well. But today's episode, we're going to talk about if you're ready to take that next big step in your early childhood career, whether you're transitioning from a director to an owner, or you're looking to scale up your family childcare center into a center-based program, this episode will inspire you to embrace change, face your fears, and build resilience along the way. Today, we are joined with my friend, Annette, I'm going to probably say this wrong,
Eberhart.
She's Eberhart. Okay, Eberhart. She is an author and an advocate for early childhood education. She has published 5 books and has 18 years of experience as a family child care educator. Since 2011, her nationally accredited child care program has set the standard for excellence, creating positive interactions that support children's growth and development. Annette serves on several committees and boards nationally, statewide, and locally. Beyond her professional roles, she's an amazing I won't swear on my channel, but Annette she's a speaker and she is a workshop presenter, and she talks on various topics in the educational field. She's also a dedicated advocate and consistently elevating the voices of children, educators, and families, and I'm so excited to have her on my show. So welcome to the show. Hey, it's Erica here, and I've got something super exciting to share with you. If you're in the world of early childhood education, you cannot miss the Early Childhood Empowerment Conference. And I'm not just saying that. Trust me, this is where the magic happens. Over the course of 3 days, we're all about learning, connecting, and reigniting that spark that brought you into the field in the first place. And let me tell you, this conference is packed with goodness. Day 1 is all about leadership. We've got 5 incredible presenters who will walk you through the business side of running your program. Plus, it's more intimate, a retreat-style day with only 80 administrators, so you'll get tons of face time and an opportunity to connect. And to close out the day, a fun, hilarious comedy show and dinner with Jay Yoder from the Board Teacher Comedy Tour. He graces the stages all over the country. Day 2 is a day full-blown conference with 50 vendors, 14 amazing speakers, plus 2, not 1, but 2 keynote addresses that will leave your head full of fresh ideas. Oh, and did I mention, you can also get a free professional headshot. You can even hop on an ECE podcast and share your expertise with the world. So much fun packed into one day. And then day 3, you get to relax. We're heading over to Urban Sweat, where you can treat yourself however you want. Whether you want to unwind in a Himalayan salt cave, you want to get into a yoga class, or just enjoy a relaxing massage, you will leave totally recharged. You can book your services directly with Rafa and pick exactly what you need. So are you in? Don't miss out 3 days of empowerment, inspiration, and just pure connection with your ECE community. I can't wait to see you there. So let's do this. Links below. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Erica. I'm excited to be here and I'm honored to be here. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we met at a Flacy conference, and this is why it's so important for you guys to get out of your office and meet and interact with other people, because what you bring to the table can do something or make a difference in someone else's life, or vice versa. Sometimes somebody just says one impactful thing to you when you're out there meeting other people, and it can change your whole life. So get out there. So, other than that very formal bio, tell folks a little bit about what you've got going on right now.
I will, but before I get into that, can I just share how we actually made that connection?
Sure.
Yeah. So we were both, like she said, at the Flacy conference here in Orlando, right? Wasn't it Orlando?
Yes, ma'am.
I think it was Orlando, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And she's set up as a vendor. I am as well. And, she's walking around working her magic like she does. And she stopped at my table, and, I have my publications up, and she's looking, and we're having conversation, and she let me know that she was, she had a podcast. And I was like, oh my God, that was my next step, my next move that I wanted to do as an educator. But I was still indecisive about, how to go about it, and just building the confidence up to actually step out and speak. I do workshops, I do speak, but it's just something about, I don't know, this platform, I guess, that I was still kind of nervous about. And she was like, come on over. Let me put you on right now. And I was like, oh my God. Sat down in the chair,
Not
and
me.
I was about to pass. Yeah, I was so nervous. And she gave me the confidence. She gave me this book. You remember? She gave me this book.
I do.
And I read the book, and she even signed it for me on the inside. And it really motivated me. And like she said, sometimes you just need that extra push, that extra support. And when I did start my podcast, I reached out to her, and I wanted her to know that it just took that extra boost of, you got this, girl, you can do this, for me to step out and start my own podcast. So I did. It's started, it's going well, and I'm learning still, but I'm all for it. So thank you so much. So to have this connection is more than just us having this conversation. I just want you to know that. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Tell folks, what's the name of your podcast?
Best Practices Unveiled.
Okay.
At first I was my brand is Best Practices outside of my childcare program. Two of my publications are best practices to create positive interactions with parents and children from birth to 10, and then from 10 to 16. I'm all about relationships, and creating those positive interactions. As an educator, I just put everything together over my years of experiences, and I just kind of created a blueprint for parents and educators, because I feel there's a disconnect when it comes to communicating. And so that's what I started the podcast. At first, I was going to do it just on the best practices in the field. But then I thought about it, and I said, wow, that's such a broad spectrum, right? Best practices. So just to elevate us to become the best versions of ourselves. So that's what we talk about. The topics vary. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, as I had said at the beginning of the show, I know that sometimes you are in a place, right? To my listeners, sometimes you're in a place and you're like, is this it? Like you have this yearning that there's something else calling you. And it could be
Right.
that you want to leave the field, but it could also be you want to grow in the field. You want to, like, what's that next level for you? And it is scary, right? It is scary. Because change is hard, right? And even if you're the most confident person, change is hard. It's kind of scary to put yourself out there. A lot of times
Right.
it takes risk, and but you'll never know, right? That mistake of never trying it and living with regret is something that I'm not interested in. So you just got to try the thing. What's the worst that's going to happen? If you don't try it, 100% you're going to fail, right? 100% you're going to miss every swing you don't take. But so let's talk a little bit about that. Can you tell us a little bit about your own journey in early childhood leadership, and discuss like what led you to where you are today?
Sure. I think for me, you definitely have to know your why. Even as an educator, it takes a special person to do what we do, especially in the aspect of family child care, because we do everything. We're the directors, we're the owners, we're the cooks. we're the teachers, we're the curriculum creators. We do everything. So you definitely have to have a passion for children and the profession in itself. So as an educator, that's where I started out, in the classroom, very strong with the children. And because we have a diverse classroom setting, not just in age, we all are all inclusive in regards to children who may have unique needs. So we have to be able to be versatile in giving them what they need while trying to balance out the program in itself. And I just saw a need for just like when we were in corporate, you want to get promotions. So in early child care, you get your CDA. If you don't have your degree, I had a degree in computer and technology, which I never used. So I had to go back to school, of course, to get the early child care, education. And you don't have to. I had the CDA, I had the director's credential, every credential you could think of that we could achieve in early child care. I wanted to do that because I wanted to better myself and my program. So I did that. And becoming accredited was something else. And I would say, too, become affiliated with an organization, whether it's NACCE normally the go-to for most educators, but there are so many associations that whether locally or statewide that I think helped me along the way, seeing other educators doing different things in the field. I have so many mentors, they don't even know they're my mentors. Like you didn't even know that, you inspired me the way that you did. I'm a very sensitive person when it comes to that. I take that very seriously when somebody invests their time and energy in another person. I think that that's another thing that's missing in our society, really, that empathy, if you will. So I think it's important to connect with other people in the field that are doing the same thing that you're doing. You see them elevating, tap in and find out what they're doing and how they're doing it, and like you spoke about fear. Sometimes fear can hold us back from
I think you
accomplishing things
froze.
that we want to do. We become complacent. Like
Uh-oh.
this family child care thing, I got it. I know it from the backhand. On my, I know it. So it's important to connect with other organizations that who are, support family child care. Whether it's, like I said, NACCE is normally the go-to for most educators, but there are also other organizations, associations, whether locally or at a state level, that support early educators, child development, best practices for children, So I think it's important, and even to connect with educators that are like-minded. Some of us are complacent and we don't want to do more than what we're doing, and that's okay. But you do have those that may want to make a difference. They may want to go to your state capitol and advocate for change, and even in order to do that, it takes a collective. That's another thing. We have complaints about things that are happening in our cities. But if we don't come together and talk about it as a collective in order to bring change, I can't just go by myself and say, we need more money or this needs to change or this needs to happen. It needs to be a wide voice of people coming together to talk about it. So it's important to get around people, because if you're by yourself and you're having these feelings or thoughts, you would never know that the next person is having them as well if you're not open enough to, kind of get out and talk about it. Just step outside of that comfort zone. Sometimes it can be hard because I know for me, I have been in spaces now, it seems like I was applying for leadership roles all at one time and everybody said, yes, come on the board, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. It's not for anybody just if they want a title on their resume. When you commit to these committees, there is an expectation and that needs to be understood. So you do have to be ready for that. So understand what is your why to want to serve in these spaces. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, that's all amazing advice. And I think the other thing too is when you step up to these new opportunities, whether it's being on a board, being a leader, going down the state house, I feel like you take those opportunities and you serve them to your best ability, but then you come sometimes to a point where you're no longer the right person to serve in that space, and then you make way for the next person who is ready to serve in that space. I actually have come to that part in my journey. I was on our state AUIC board for like 6 years, and I literally just stepped down last month. But it was my time to move on and leave an opportunity for someone else who could bring something different or new to the group. So, and I loved, I loved that experience, and it gives you experience to do other things on a, like you said, maybe on a bigger level. So with that change comes challenges. So what challenges have you faced as you stepped into your new roles and expanded your vision in the early childhood space?
Ooh, time. It's time management. Some days I am everywhere, and I'm a grandma. I have I'm not a grandma. I'm a Gigi. My granddaughter calls me Gigi. But anyway, I don't get to. She's here on my program every day, but just that quality time and doing things that I like to do for myself. I just feel like everything is, the meetings and because you're there because you bring something to the table. You bring something, and everybody has an expertise, and sometimes we don't even realize what that is. Other people may see that within us, and we don't see it within ourselves. So I would say for me, it's time management sometimes, and then being confident that I am providing what it is that's needed in the moment. One of my positions, I'm chair of a council, and I look at all the other people. And I've said to one of my mentors, I'm just an educator. He's like, what? Why would you say that about yourself? But when I look at all of the doctors and they have all these ABCDFGs before their names, it's intimidating. And these are people that when I would go to conference, I would see them and have such admiration and respect for who they are, where they are in their practice in early childcare education. And now I'm in the room with them as their leader.
I do. And I think we all need to acknowledge that they need us equally. And so what I mean by that is, once you're removed from the classroom, the community, and you're, maybe you're working at a different level, you're working at a college level, and you're the professor or the dean, you're so far removed. If you haven't been in a classroom in 10 years, they really need the people who have their boots on the ground and, their finger on the pulse of what's happening right now. Because we do know that education is always changing, always evolving. And so to stay connected with what truly matters for the children in our communities today, they need us. And I've been in those situations where I've been on boards. They've asked me to come on boards and say, what do you think about this or that, especially in the school age space here in our state. It's because they really do need that you're the window that they're looking through to get the lens of what's really going on. So you are just as important as everyone in that room, no matter how many letters they have before or after their name. And I love what you said too about time management. Like, if you don't have good time management, time is going to manage you for sure. And I think it is important to have, that, and I don't use the word balance because that's an illusion, but the ebb and flow of personal time, family time, and work, right? It's an ebb and flow, right? Because we know there are certain times at work where you got to be all in, whether you're making a deadline, you're getting ready for accreditation, whatever it is. And then there are other times where you're all in on family, whether it's holidays, weekends, whatever it is that speaks to your heart. But stop, because I think when you talk about balance, it almost feels like they're fighting and competing. And that's why I like ebb and flow, because they go together.
They go together.
Yeah, they go together. So we talked a little bit about fear. Like, the fear of the unknown can be overwhelming. How have you managed fear and uncertainty as you've grown in your career, in your business?
I face it as it comes. Like I said, my biggest thing has been, for me, I think, meeting expectations, and I would say fear of what's on the other side of not doing what I'm good at. I know that I got this. I know that I can do this, but I'm not too sure about that, Even I have looked at opening a center because I've been doing this in my home for a long time. And sometimes I just want my space back. I operate 24 hours. So there has been times where, except for on Sundays now, I stopped. Monday through Saturday, even overnight, I have children. And I thought about doing the center. I got in the paperwork, I did the training, and looking for different places. But then it's like, oh my God, if I get a center, it's going to be magnified what I'm doing already in my home, with the employees and, I just, and then the fear, like, okay, I got this. I don't know if I'm going to be successful with that. Then they talk about the money turnaround. And it's just, so that's another fear within itself. Then I have a peer, a friend of mine that has been an educator as long as I have, and she doesn't live too far. She did it. And I commend her. She has a center now, and she still actually she just was voted in as a president for our association. So then that's something I had to look at and say, is that something I really want to do? So I think with me, I want to do so much in the field. I just want to give so much and be a part of change, because we definitely need it. Sometimes we do get complacent and stuck in the way things used to be. And it doesn't mean that those things weren't valid. It's just that we all have to evolve, and we just have to pick and choose what it is that we're good at and some of the things that we want to experience and just go for it. So I do face it as it comes, but I would say showing up. Like I said, I did a meeting. I was part of a strategic planning committee for NAFCC. And when it was time to introduce ourselves, like on the screen, my heart was beating so fast, because I was, like I said, I was seeing all of these faces of these people. I was like, oh my goodness, she's here, he's here. And when it came to them introducing myself, the eyes were like blink, blink, blink. I just felt like all eyes were on me, and I almost passed out. I did well. I texted one of my associates that was on the call, and she was like, oh girl, you can't tell that you're nervous. So I would just say, be your authentic self. And that's something that I had to learn, because I'm not traditional. So I think that I always felt like I had to be who someone wanted me to be in that space. And that's hard when that's not who you are. So just be your authentic self. And
Yeah. Did you ever think that all those folks that were in that meeting were maybe excited and were like, yeah, Annette's here? Maybe they were equally excited to see you. Right?
Exactly.
Because you are the only you. And so I feel like I want you to step into that because you are amazing. I mean, literally, I met you for such a short time, and you just exude some special, I don't know, connection. And I could tell, you said you're very intuitive, and I believe that, because you also exude that. You exude just this charismatic, very calm, very cool, bad chick.
Thank you, Erica.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So for those of the listeners out there who are maybe considering making a big leap, whether it's transitioning from a director to an owner, or from a family childcare to a center, or maybe even beyond the local community, like that's, kind of where I'm going. What advice do you have for them to embrace that journey?
Just do it. Know why you want to do it. Maybe if you need to, write down your pros and cons, you know what I mean? And challenge yourself and just do it. If it's something that you're passionate about, doing it, do it. Again, if you know other people that are doing it, don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions. Talk to people in order to get clarity or what have you, because it's important that you're comfortable in that transition as well. So I would just say, just do it. Write down. I journal a lot too. I write down my thoughts and things like that. And sometimes when you go back and you read it, you can see the fear, or you can see where you were and where you are now. And that's important. Just keep evolving.
That's great advice. I think, even if you take 10 steps forward and you get knocked back 2, you're still ahead 8. So, I'm with you on that. Do it. I'm right now kind of in the same space where I've got one foot in my 3 centers. I'm there every day. I run my programs. I'm very visible. And then there are times where I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to be gone for 4 days, and I'll be at a conference. I'll be either speaking or, like you said, having a booth out there, meet my listeners, because I do love that. I love that community. And I feel like I do have so much to give beyond the 4 walls of my program, especially after 26 years. I can't even believe how long I've been doing this. So you'll know when the time is right. You'll know when the time is right. And and you can take those baby steps. And right now, I feel like, that's kind of what I've done. Although people will laugh and be like, this is a baby step for you? It is, because trust me, when I'm able to rip that Band-Aid off, there'll be no mistaken. There will be no mistaken. Right now, I balance the time between the two of them. So when you go, right, because you also go, you said that you run a program and it's like 24 hours a day, pretty much. How are you able to do that, go out and be a vendor and speak and all that? How are you balancing that, especially being a family childcare provider?
I have 2 assistants that work with me. My daughter's been working with me since we opened the doors. And I have another assistant that comes in administratively to help me and with the children as well. So, yeah.
It's a
And then I
team.
have a youngest daughter yeah, it's definitely a team.
It's a
We all
team. All
educators.
right.
My mother was an educator. My sister is a educator in Maryland. She teaches school. She's been doing it now for 30 years. And then myself and my oldest daughter, and now my youngest daughter is a teacher as well. She graduated at 17, a year early, with her associate's degree. She did that dual enrollment. So now she has her bachelor's and she's
Wow.
teaching as well. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So looking ahead, what's your vision for the future of early childhood leadership? And how do you see a role in shaping that future?
I see us speaking up more. And I know that for me, that's where I want to be. I want to be in those spaces, being the voices for educators, families, and children. That's where I'm headed. I want to get into more speakership roles, and just sharing my story, sharing our story as educators. Here in my county, there is this would ask this question of you and your listeners, and hopefully I can get some feedback. There is this vision among centers and family child care. I'm a board member on our ELC board of directors, and I wasn't present at a meeting they had, and a lot of the center directors were saying that I wasn't able to represent them as on the board. And with that being said, a lot of people don't understand what what that position really is like, But I feel like we all do the same thing, It's on a different scale, yes, but we are all here to educate and serve the community, So I don't understand what it is and maybe you can help me, because I'm going to go to a meeting. They have another one on the
Sure.
12th, 18th. I'm sorry. I'm going to go and introduce myself formally, because again, I'm very humble, laid back, but now that it's happening, things are happening. People are seeing me now, and they're like, "Who is this lady?" I've been here,
Sure.
I've been here. But I do want to go
Yeah.
and just introduce myself and see what it is that they need, because I know that we have a correspondence that goes out to the community of educators every week from the coalition. And if there's something that we need to talk about, you know how to reach me. So, and if there's something that we need to make change as a collective, we can correlate that together. And I'm in Tallahassee, and that's the thing. I'm at the table. I'm talking about making changes. If there are bills and things like that, we have to understand and know what the process is like, right? So yeah, just give me, what do you think about that?
I do understand where they're coming from as far as they're different business models, but they're both businesses, and we certainly serve the same community. We serve children. So I think it depends specifically on the topic. So if it's like curriculum, elevating standards, having high quality, I think that translates across the board. I do think that there might be certain regulations or things that they may have to do if they have X amount of employees that maybe you wouldn't have a good understanding. But you could also maybe have a dual role where there is one person from the family child care space, one from the center space, and you guys work together, like you said, as a collective. I think you're doing the right thing by saying, let's come to the table. Tell me what you think that you need representation that I don't have. And then maybe you guys figure out a way that you work together to make sure that it's equally represented. I think as far as talking about the passion and caring for children, caring for families, I think you would do an excellent job at that. But there might be just some business details that might need a little bit more information. But I'm certainly sure too, if they shared that with you, I'm sure you could also articulate it, and support what it is that they need as well. So I think, coming to the table always is the right answer. I think that's always the right answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do have a center representative, but she's for faith-based.
I think it just is really just contingent on what the particular topic is that you guys are
right. Yeah. We'll
working.
find that out some more.
Yeah. So and that's why you have a board, right? Because that's the whole point of a board, is to have different perspectives, different voices that then come together to talk about the greater good. So that's the whole point of a board and an organization, right? So before we wrap it up, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would love for the listeners to know?
I think we covered it all.
Okay.
We covered it all. I'm coming to your conference.
She is coming to our conference. She will be at our conference, and then we're going to sneak you right on up we have a very, this conference is going to be so cool. So it's like a little corner like a pod fest. So we've got like 8 podcasters there, 8 or 9 podcasters there. We have a whole podcast section. We're gonna, just like I do with you in Florida, we're gonna have a live podcast spot where we can just have educators just hop right on, share on mics. But it won't just be me running those podcasts. I've got such a great lineup. I'm so excited. I can't even begin to tell you. For those of you who are listening and you haven't bought your tickets yet for the Early Childhood Empowerment Conference, I don't know what you're waiting for, but I have to tell you, we just literally this morning is the first day. This week we have a special going on. If you buy a 3-day ticket for the conference, which is like a ridiculously insane low price of like $189 for a 3-day conference, you'll get 2 teacher tickets for free for the Saturday event. So for $189, you as a leader can go for 3 days, and 2 of your teachers can come on Saturday for the full day conference. So I don't know where you're going to get a deal like that. Nowhere. I will put the link and the code below for you to grab that deal. It's only this week for International Women's Week. We know there are so many women in our field, and we want to acknowledge all the work that they're doing. And so that's it. So thank you so much to my listeners for tuning in day after day. We appreciate you so much. Don't forget, if you have something that's burning in your heart, just do it. Make the leap. Have a plan and make the leap. Don't be paralyzed by fear. You've got to do it. It's the only way you're going to grow. So that's it for today. And remember, it's the small details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Child Care Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Child Care Director's Chair.